Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, like, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So, it's time for another franchise ranking video today, and this time I'm going to be ranking another video game franchise. And this is for a trilogy of games, one of my favourite video game trilogies of all time by the video game company Ubisoft. And this is a franchise which is a third-person shooter open-world franchise involving hacking. And this video game trilogy I'm going to be ranking from best to weakest is none other than Watch Dogs. So, I'm going to be ranking all three of the games so far, which is of course the first game, Watch Dogs 2, and Watch Dogs Legion from best to weakest. So, in my opinion, none of the games are bad. In my opinion, they're all really good games, but in my opinion, they get weaker and weaker, not worse and worse, if you get what I mean. So it's from best to weakest, and it's also my personal opinion too, so if you guys don't agree, that's absolutely fine, but please respect my opinion just like I respect yours. So, kicking off with what is my all-time favourite Watch Dogs game, and one of my favourite games of all time, in my opinion, one of Ubisoft's best games they've made, I'm going to be going with, of course, what is none other than 2016's Watch Dogs 2, the second game of the trilogy, and I absolutely love this game. I first played on Xbox One, and I revisited it on PS4 backwards because I bought my PS5 recently, and in my opinion, the game is an absolute blast. I think in terms of gameplay, it outshines the first game in every possible way, such as the hacking, puzzles, what you can do in the game, and I also absolutely love the open world of San Francisco you can explore. I think they faithfully recreated the city brilliantly, in my opinion. I've got to hand it to Ubisoft for that when it comes to these games, how they faithfully recreate these cities, just amazing. And I think we did a really great job in particular with this one. And I also love the graphics in the game. In my opinion, they hold up phenomenally for a game that's nearly 10 years old. It's 9 years old this year, and in my opinion, it's aged phenomenally. And I also love the character Marcus Holloway, who you play as, who is voiced by Ruffin Prentice, who does a brilliant job playing Marcus. Makes him a funny and likeable protagonist who you play as in the game, who's brilliant at hacking and also is really cool at parkour, which makes him a unique character to play as. And when it comes to my favourite character in the game, though, it is most definitely for me, Wrench. I definitely really love Wrench and his story. In my opinion, he's the most interesting character out of the Dead Set group in the game, with a very interesting story behind him, and that's what I love about his character in the game. And I think the story was also really good too as well. It was really fun to do with lots of really fun things. I'd say this game handles humour the best in this franchise, in my opinion, too, most definitely. So if you guys want a funny game, I'd recommend this game, absolutely, just amazing. So, when it comes to Watch Dogs 2, it's definitely my favourite in the franchise in terms of the gameplay and just the game in general, really. So, if I was to give it a score out of 10, I'd definitely give it for me a full-blown 10 out of 10. Then on to what is my second favourite of the trilogy. We're going to be going, of course, with the one that started it all, which is 2014's Watch Dogs, the first game. And just like Watch Dogs 2, I also absolutely love this game as well. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I'd say the main highlight of this game, when it comes to what probably the best thing about it, is easily the character you play as, Aiden Pierce. I think he's an absolute badass of a character, a brilliant hacker voiced by Norm Jenkins. Easily my favourite role of him. And I think he's just an amazing character, and I really love his story where he wants to get revenge for the death of his niece in the game. I think it's, in my opinion, fantastically done. Like, I'd say this game probably has the best story of a franchise, because I really love revenge thriller stories, and this game definitely has an amazing story in it, with really great action in the game, and also the hacking puzzles are really good as well to do. And I also as well really love the open world of Chicago in this game as well. I think they did a really brilliant job recreating Chicago in the game. Just absolutely brilliant in my opinion. Also with great graphics, which in my opinion have aged really well, because this game is 11 years old this year, and in my opinion it's aged really well, and it's just so well done. So it's definitely, in my opinion, a fantastic game. I mean, if I was thinking about qualities with the game, I'd say in terms of, like, you know, the gameplay itself, it's a little bit weaker than Watch Dogs 2, probably because it was the first one when a franchise was just getting started. And I think Watch Dogs 2 definitely improved when it comes to the gameplay, especially with hacking puzzles in particular, and what you can do with controlling drones, and of course the jumpers and stuff like that you can drive on the ground. But nonetheless, though, I still think the game is absolutely fantastic. As a great, like, revenge thriller game, it's definitely a masterpiece. So, just like the second game, I would also give this game also a 10 out of 10, just in my opinion, incredible. Like, sometimes I can go back and forth between these two in particular. You know, this one for gameplay and this one for the story. But in my opinion, they both work every possible way, really. Just amazing games right there. So 10 out of 10 for both the second game and one that starts or the first game. Then on to what is probably my third Fatal Trilogy and the weakest one in my opinion, which of course is 2020's Watch Dogs Legion. Now, when I first did a ranking video of the 2020 games I played in that year, this was at the top of the list, and I was very positive when I gave it 10 out of 10, and I played on Xbox One. But when I revisited the game on PS5 recently, and this was also after I revisited the first two games back compatible on PS5 and the PS4 versions, I noticed things about this game which makes it, in my opinion, a lot weaker than the first two games, and I'll get to it. But the good things I'll say is, I really liked how this one was unique, in which you can play as literally anyone in a futuristic London, because this game is set in London. And as somebody who's been to London several times, I think they did a brilliant job recreating London, like a modern futuristic setting of it. In my opinion, they did a really good job with it, in my opinion, just really good. And the hacking puzzles are once again really good too as well. You can also control a variety of objects, just like in Watch Dogs 2, which is really good to see return. And I think it's very creative how you can play as anyone in London with all different kinds of personalities and abilities. I think it's really cool how you can do that. Definitely sets it apart from the first two games. The story is also okay in my opinion too as well. But I will say though that it is, in my opinion, a lot weaker than the first two games. And if you guys would ask me who my favourite character is in the game, it's probably the AI robot called Bagley, because Bagley was really funny, and despite being a robot, he's got such great personality on him, really, which is really fun to watch when playing the game. So he's definitely my favourite character in the game. But when it comes to my favourite thing about the game in terms of the gameplay, it's probably the DLC called Bloodlines, because you can play as both Aiden Pearce from the first game and Wrench from Watch Dogs 2, which I absolutely loved. I played on Xbox One and it was so much fun. In my opinion, a much better story than the base game's story. I'm not saying the base game story was bad, just a bit weak in my opinion, but the gameplay of the DLC was, in my opinion, infinitely better because of the amazing story bringing back my favourite characters, Aiden and Wrench. Because Aiden's my favourite character of all time from a franchise, and Wrench is my favourite character in Watch Dogs 2. Both with one DLC, just perfect. However, if I was thinking about quality with this game then, so I've already said that in my opinion the story mode is a bit weaker than the first two games in particular. Mainly because you don't have like a fixed protagonist you play as in the game. The only one who we could say is fixed is probably Bagley, and also the assistant called Sabine. But I will say that in my opinion Sabine was really bland and lifeless in the game. I didn't care for her whatsoever compared to Aiden or Wrench even, or Marcus from Watch Dogs 2. And also as well, when it comes as well to the gameplay itself as well, sometimes there's a bit like a downgrade compared to the first two games in terms of weapons you can use, which is a bit disappointing because weapons you're limited to are like stun guns really and stuff like that. Like you only have to like recruit certain characters to have, you know, the weapons that you want, like hitmen or Albion soldiers and stuff like that really. So that's about it really. So that's what I'll say when it comes to that. And the story is also, in my opinion, a bit weak and sometimes boring. I remember skipping loads of cutscenes because it was so boring in my opinion. No one is impactful as the first two games. That's why I think the DLC Bloodlines was miles better, and in my opinion the story should have got in this game, to be completely honest with you, because I think it was much better. But nonetheless, I still think it's a really good game. It was really fun to play through, and I really enjoyed getting to explore London. As someone who's been to London, I think they did a really good job recreating it in this setting, just really good. So I really enjoyed playing it nonetheless, and the other two games. So if I was to give it a score out of 10, I'd probably give it a decent score of 8 out of 10. So guys, that's me doing my ranking of the Watch Dogs games from best to weakest. So first place for me is Watch Dogs 2. Second place for me is the first game. And then in third place, my least favourite but still good for Watch Dogs Legion. So guys, this is me doing my ranking of Watch Dogs Trilogy from best to weakest. So you know the drill guys, be sure to give this video a like. Also be sure to let me know in the comments what you guys think of Watch Dogs as a trilogy. How do you guys rank the games? I'd love to hear you guys would rank them. Also be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe and release content in the future. And I'll see you all later.